Welcome, travelers, to Witchtok, where we don't have all the answers, but we definitely have the audacity. You're gonna be told you're gonna burn in hell at some point, and the creators are still being shadow banned. All your hard work will mean nothing because people will want your magic for free. You're one of us now.
Ugh, I hate people that work at the bank. Shh, I work at the bank.
Hey, are you okay? What's wrong?
My plant died. Well, that sucks. What do you think happened? You know what? I think someone hexed me. All right, well, couldn't there be a more, rational reason? Did you forget to water it or something? No. I definitely watered this. Someone hexed me. And I'm gonna find out who did it. How? Words are gonna tell me. Well, what did they say? Nothing. I'm gonna check with my guides to make sure. Yeah, thanks, Joker. I thought it was Aspirant Witch too.
I heard you can't buy your own tarot deck, that someone else needs to buy it for you. Is that true? No, that's just superstitious nonsense. But isn't all superstition grounded in witchcraft? Most of it is, but some stuff is a lot more recent and so a lot more likely to be corrupted or not an actual view of most witches. So who decides what's superstition and what's genuine spiritual practice? You do. Isn't there a witchy pope or someone who decides that for us? No, that's called organised religion, and most organised religions are very corrupt. So how do you decide on what you all believe? You don't. It's different for everyone. So how do I learn about it? You ask people and then form your own points of view. Oh.
Hey, Stress Face, unclench your fucking jaw. I'm sure you already did as soon as you saw me. I feel like when I pop on, you're probably like, oh shit. Yes, absolutely. Are you hydrating? Fix that shit. Deep breath in the nose, out the mouth, shall we? We're gonna inhale the good shit and exhale the bullshit. Very nice. Repeat after me, bitch. I am powerful. I am capable. I am enough. I'm a bad bitch. In the nose, out the mouth. One more time. Again, I am powerful. I am capable. I'm enough. I'm a bad bitch. In the nose, out the mouth. Very good. You are dismissed. Go get your day. Fuck it up.
Okay, I need to make a video about this. So I ended up on tarot card TikTok, and it's probably because I asked about oracle cards. It's fine. But it's all the ones that are saying the same thing of ooh, somebody from your past, it's your ex, twin flame, they're all coming back, they love you, and they just can't say it. And it's that's fine and dandy. So I run across this lady who pulls out the Fool card, and she's like, oh, this is about a traveler. And I was like, oh, it's me. So I hang out and I listen, and it eventually turns into, oh, your ex, somebody from your past, oh. And I was like, I'm already halfway through the video, so I'll hang out and listen. So she's reading the cards, and I'm like, neat. And then she points at the Eight of Swords and says, yes, they want to offer you commitment. No. The Eight of Swords is the victim mentality card. Now, no shade to this lady, but it's just don't be reading people's cards and claiming that their ex is going to come back to them and giving them false hope when you don't read cards. They're TikTok readings. Please take them with a grain of salt. So yesterday I talked a little bit of shit about the love readings, the constant love readings on TikTok from tarot readers. And I'm not getting love readings anymore. All I'm getting is readings that are what do people not like about you? I wanted to point out that you cannot take away somebody's free will with magic. It's just not a thing. Magic is an influence. So you are influencing maybe that person's ideas or thoughts or situation, but you're not ever taking away somebody's free will despite what you may want to do or what you may think that you are doing. Now, if the person is easily influenced, then it may seem like you are taking away their free will. If somebody's easily influenced, especially if they're in a weaker state of mind, it's easier to influence, which is another reason why you need to cast responsibly. Say I'm casting a love spell on somebody that hates me. They're just going to be pissed off that they're thinking about me all the time, but most likely they're not going to fall in love with me. If somebody actually does like me and I'm casting a love spell on them, most likely they'll probably act upon all of the thoughts and the feelings that might be suddenly influencing them. This is not me saying that you should be going out casting love spells. Cast responsibly, but you can't take away somebody's free will.
So, witch tip, and I genuinely don't remember where I learned this. But take a rock
and chuck it as hard as you possibly can at whoever's coming at you. You fuck with me, you fuck with my banishing rock. Effective if you go straight for the head. I mean, launch that motherfucker!
Alright, so the first path that I'm going over is crystals. Crystals are lovely, even wonderful. Many of them have different properties. For instance, shungite, named after the Shunga city in Russia, is known for its 87% weight in carbon, which makes it a wonderful water purifier that science has actually proven. Then you have stones like sodalite, which are wonderful and lovely, but have no scientific traits behind them. Although sodalite has been known for self-esteem and is also called the truth stone. The one thing that I do recommend before going down this path is do your research on what stones look like. The most common misconception is that satin spar is actually selenite, while closely related to selenite. Satin spar is more meant for focusing your energy, not really for cleansing it. Sometimes people will dye clear quartz in order to make it look like rose quartz or smoky quartz. Go to a trusted crystal store if you want to get around them. For creators who know more about this, I actually recommend Moonlight Witchdom. Second path coming soon.
Just got back from vacation and tired as hell, let's go.
Path number 2. Herbs. Working with herbs is almost an essential in witchcraft. Some help with cleansing, some help with self-love, some help with breaking old ties. There are so many different ways of using herbs. Smoke cleansing, tea, internal smoke cleansing. This is just a goddamn sticky note, I swear on Tyr's right hand. And also in jar spells, candle spells, and so many more. There are so many witches out there that say you need to forage your own herbs in order to do herb magic. I swear to fuck. Fuck them. You're a witch on a goddamn budget. For you witchlings in the broom closet, the spice rack in your home is going to be your best fucking friend. However, there are 2 herbs that I don't want you to use. Palo Santo and white sage. Both were given to me by my mother for Christmas. Palo Santo is extremely endangered, and white sage is used exclusively in Native American practices. It also cleanses all energy, good and bad.
I'm just going to play devil's advocate here, guys, and take the piss out of everyone, alright? Because I'm personally quite wounded and very offended that no one tagged me in this video. Am I in my Celtic Studies degree? A joke to you! But let's do a deep dive. Okay, so I am not shy about the fact that I do not like the term fae. I think it's kind of in danger of accidentally erasing cultural heritage, and it's something that's kind of come from urban fantasy anyway, because every single place has its own specific terms and names for the people of the other world. So Celtic, no one in the Celtic nations has fae. There's Munja Vega, there's Eoshi, there's Taloif Teig, there's Piskies, there's Corrigans. There isn't fae. So, you know, if you're going to criticise people, don't do the same bullshit as they are, and you'd know that if you were Celtic. Alright, so you're all... Do you know what? I know that Witchtok has a tendency to be over dramatic, but it would be really nice if we could stop propelling and pushing urban fantasy concepts as if they were concrete fact, because you might actually accidentally put people in danger. So I've seen something recently about the fae. Of course, it's always the fucking fae. And it's, you know, you have to be kind to eccentric strangers because they might be a fae and you don't want to upset them. No. If an eccentric stranger is making you uncomfortable, actually, I feel like it's perfectly fine to try and escape and get out of that situation. It's all well and good to romanticise, you know, life and death concepts in relation to fantastical and folkloric creatures, but really, at the end of the day, if you want to genuinely keep yourself safe from harm, then maybe don't always take Witchtok advice as fact. Take it with a pinch of salt, please. Look after yourself. using my own comment as a springboard here, but do people not understand that folklore served a number of functions? Not only was it sometimes purely for survival tips to stop your children playing in dangerous areas alone. Sometimes it was for pure entertainment value. Sometimes, yeah, the stories are about creatures that people genuinely believed in, and still perhaps do today. Stories of the banshee and what have you. But some stories really are just stories that serve another function to keep you safe. Not telling someone your name isn't some ancient mystical rule of fairies. That's pretty simple stuff that you should not be doing to any dodgy stranger. It's simply a survival tactic. But you forget that a lot of these information that you get is funneled through years of Dungeons and Dragons and fantasy novels, and it's like, don't take it so literally.
But the reason for this is fae, or fairies, come from Celtic lore.
I was going to start angry, but then I had a really funny thought. Anyway, for a start, no, that's incorrect. Every single culture of the world has its stories of the other folk. Every single one. Okay, and then for a start, fairies is quite a modern. I keep thinking of, I'll get to it. Anyway, fairies is quite a modern term because every single Celtic nation has its own version, has its own names for fairies. And anyway, this is a bit I'm gonna. Do you think people were telling their children not to go walking alone on roads in the dark because one of those little things was gonna come fluttering at them? No, don't go by that large body of water. You might get fluttered at. Oh, let's leave an offering for the little fairies.
Woman makes a good point in a forest and no one is around to hear it. Will a man still appear to say, well...
You know, we're only including human men in this because I'm pretty sure we might still get some forest spirits popping out and being like, well, actually. I was punched in the face by a tree once. Now, I'm not saying that tree was a man, but I was full flow into a conversation and a tree just went, just punched me right in the face. And I thought it was quite rude at the time, and now I'm wondering if that tree was in fact a man. Sorry, I couldn't even. That tree really did have some well actually energy, you know, just had an aura, just had well actually aura around it. So I don't know. Should we gender trees? Probably not, but
with things like this, always ask, is it mundane or is it magical? It's springtime. And you know what comes out during spring? Robins. There are going to be a lot of robins that come out during the spring. Just like different birds come to different regions at different times of the year. It may not be Apollo. It may just be a bunch of ravens or a bunch of crows just coming into your region at that time of the year. It may not be a deity. It may just be a bunch of robins just being robins. Ask your pendulum. See what happens. I'm sorry it took so long to reply, but yes, I actually do have a few tips for you. So when I was in the broom closet, the first thing I did was I got a knick-knack shelf. This is just a vertical shelf that I just started putting things on that I liked. My mom slowly got used to it and be like, oh, well, she's collected things her whole life. She's collected rocks since she was little, so this is no different. Soon it will just look like a shelf of bullshit. Once your family or your parents or whoever is comfortable with it, like they're not asking any questions, then you can start to rearrange it as an altar. You can use electronic tea lights, or you don't even have to use any candles. Just put knickknacks and like bones or rocks or whatever the hell that the deity likes, and dedicate that space to the deity, even if it's just a shelf. That way it kind of blends in with your other little knickknacks and rocks and other things like that. Hey everyone, so I decided to show y'all a easy self-love spell that you can do at home. First, you're gonna make a bed of salt, or sugar, whichever one you prefer. Orchids for love. Violet for protection, love, and wishes. Yarrow for courage, luck, and psychic powers, and also for love. Amaranth for healing and protection. Place a red candle in the middle, like so. Poppy seeds for love and peace. Cardamom for self-love. And I'm going to add some rose quartz as well. Light it and let it burn. Be good to yourself. Blessed be.
So I was talking about like the offerings I give to my deities the other day, and my mom was like, "Are you sure they're not just cats?" And I thought about it. And like, okay, I know they're not just cats. I know my deities are not just cats, but imagine if they were just cat spirits pretending to be deities so they could get offerings, attention, and be worshipped. Tell me that's not something a cat would do. That is 100% something a cat would do. Like, I want someone to tell me that this isn't a plausible possibility, because I feel like it is.
I am my mother's savage daughter, the one who runs barefoot, cursing sharp stones. I am my mother's savage daughter, I will not cut my hair, I will not lower my voice. Oh, we are all brought forth out of darkness and into this world through blood and through pain, and deep in our bones the old songs are waking, so sing them with voice.
TikTok tarot readers have been pissing me off lately. I swear to God, these people are pulling out like the Three of Swords and going, "Oh my God, look, the sword is piercing through the heart like Cupid's arrow. They're obsessed with you." No! No! If you try to get with this person and have hope, you're going to get your heart broken. That being said, education of these cards are important. So I am going to be going through my entire tarot deck and giving very bare meanings, because tarot cards can be interpreted, but you can't change the whole damn meaning of the card. This is honestly just for me, just to say I tried to educate people. I'm trying. But I mean, if you ever want to learn about tarot, strap in.
Do you burn incense or sage or other herbs like this around your pets? Well, bestie, I'm about to tell you something that you just might not like. Small animals have really tiny, really sensitive lungs, and you shouldn't have smoke around them at all. Even scented candles can cause issues for them. Don't get me wrong, I love incense, but it is so bad for you, especially your pets. And there's also certain herbs that are actually toxic to animals. Eucalyptus, for example, is toxic to animals. So is lavender and mugwort. There are a million other ways to cleanse without the use of smoke. I'm going to be making a separate video on that. If for whatever reason you absolutely have to smoke cleanse and you have pets, just do it in a room they don't go into, keep the door closed and the windows open. And also just double check that you're not using an herb that's toxic for them. Do not smoke out of these. It is super dangerous. When crystals are polished, it's done with chemicals that you will be inhaling. It is also impossible to polish the tiny little hole in the inside, so you will be also inhaling little particles of crystal. And certain crystals contain toxic chemicals. This tiger's eye one right here, yeah, it has asbestos in it. This fluorite one right here releases fluoride with heat. The little gold spots on this lapis lazuli are pyrite, which is made of copper. All of these chemicals can straight up kill you. I know they're super cute, but they are not worth the risk.
Yay! Okay, thank you everyone for the, positive feedback. First, I want to talk about the way that tarot is especially useful for me as an autistic person, because I do struggle sometimes with identifying my own emotions. They just feel like this swirling vortex, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm feeling. I could just be hungry, or I could be grieving. Sometimes it's very confusing to tell. And so tarot, completely separate from any divination aspect, is really useful because it is super symbolic, full of beautiful complex pictures, and full of patterns. And you know what I'm pretty good at? Pattern recognition. And it helps me journal about my own feelings, and also I use it in therapy. So, for example, take the world. This is the Prisma Visions deck. I've been feeling really overwhelmed lately, and I'm also about to graduate college. The World card really helps me understand that feeling, this swirling vortex of emotions as a cycle of my life ends.
Pagans and witches who do deity work. Quick question. How do you see your deities? How do you visualize them? How do you personify them? Because in my personal belief system, this doesn't apply to everyone, and I don't expect it to. Deities are energy, and in order to understand them, we personify them by making them look human. And because I'm a massive nerd psychology student, I 100% believe that this visualization process links back to our social development and personality development. So things like society, the world around us, the people around us, the culture like we grew up in, the media we consume directly influences how we see like things spiritually, if that makes sense. For example, gods and goddesses of beauty. Beauty is a very subjective thing. They're going to look different to everyone. For example, Aengus Og, the Irish god of beauty, looks like a male counterpart to my girlfriend because I find her very beautiful. Obviously, I'm going to find similar attributes in a god of beauty. I'm also very curious to see anyone who's worshipping Irish deities who's not from Ireland. How the fuck do ye see them?
Witch tip, just because things are looking very intense while you do your spell does not mean anything is actually fucking going down. If you look to the slight left of that flame, you'll see a little bit of hibiscus flower has got on fire. Skepticism is important in your craft. Don't fuck out the window just because you want to seem cool, alright?
I want to talk about something that's highly hypocritical. When Celtic people came out and said, hey, don't fuck with the Fae, please don't do Fae work unless you've really, really done research. Please don't make up shit about the Sidhe because, you know, our folklore did not get bollocked for 1,000 years by British colonialism for people on TikTok to ruin it. The response was 90% yes, queen. Defend your culture. Defend your folklore. Which was great. It was nice to see that people were understanding the cultural significance that these practices had to Celtic pagans and Irish pagans. Yet the second any POC practitioner, whether they are black, Asian, any type of fucking native practitioner, the second they tried to do the same shit with the stuff that's been appropriated by white spiritualists, we're up in arms. People treat POC practitioners as if they have audacity rather than a duty to protect their practices and their fucking religions. Why were we treated with reverence? And why are POC people still treated like dirt for wanting to do the exact same thing as us? Hi. What you want, child? Kind of fucking busy at the minute. I need to scan your room for ghosts. What? Yeah, I got this ghost scanner app on my iPad, and there are ghosts in the house, and I gotta make sure there's none in your room. Okay, yeah, sure, go fucking wild. See if there's any here. There's nothing in here, okay, bye. Good, thanks, child. Am I a fucking joke? What?
I'm sick of seeing them. I never want to see it again in my entire fucking life.
Here's why I have an issue with this man being so completely pressed about Medusa symbol tattoos. One of the absolute oldest stories of Medusa, one of the originals, was Medusa was a woman who worked in Athena's temple. Poseidon had intercourse with the Medusa against her will in Athena's temple. And one of the very oldest versions was Athena blessed Medusa, not cursed, but blessed Medusa with the ability to turn people to stone when they looked at her as a way to protect herself because she had been violated. The Medusa symbol of Medusa's head herself was actually used all throughout history to show women it was a safe place for them to be. This symbol was used for women to know that they were going to be safe in whatever place had it on there, whether it was a home or a bedroom wall or jewelry. They would wear it because it made them feel protected against men. And I find it very ironic because it's literally a symbol for young women to feel safe against men, and he's getting so angry that he's seeing it everywhere all of a sudden. If you do have a Medusa tattoo, I think that's badass and fuck anyone else's opinion.
Sup, I'm Lizzie, a kitchen witch and a bartender, and this is my watermelon Sour Patch Kids cocktail for healing your inner child. Start by soaking 1/2 cup watermelon Sour Patch Kids in 2 cups of vodka. Watermelon is great for healing. Now let that sit for a week. Great, it's done. Grab a shaker tin filled with ice, pour in 2 ounces of the infused vodka, 1 ounce of watermelon pucker for a little more healing. It's also delightfully sour. Give it a little shake. Grab a tall glass rimmed with sugar and pour in 1/2 ounce of melon liqueur. Melon is also great for healing. Fill with crushed ice. Gently strain your watermelon mixture on top. Now it's layered and actually looks like a watermelon Sour Patch Kid. Sip on this while you take care of your inner child. Enjoy!
There's been at least one witch who has publicly done a magic spell to get Trump reelected. Obviously the spell didn't work. Why? Let's dissect. Okay, here she is. Presidential Spiritual Advisor, which is code word for witch but is too Christian to admit it. Paula White is currently leading an impassioned prayer service. And this is back on November 4th. Remember, on November 4th, the race was just too close to call it for either Biden or Trump. First, let's look at her spell.
Angels are being released right now. Angels are being dispatched right now. Hamanda aka ata raka deda baka sanda ata ambo osa kata rite eke banda ata rike didi ashada. For angels have even been dispatched from Africa right now. Africa right now. Africa right now. From Africa right now. Angelic reinforcement. Angelic reinforcement. Angelic reinforcement. Fika hata anda ata ora bata rata ande eke manda rasada. For I hear the sound of victory. I hear the sound of victory.
Self-hexing is definitely a thing. If you're just acting, it's just a persona that you're putting on to hex yourself, then that probably won't affect you that much. But if you low-key believe it, yeah, you've hexed yourself. I half-jokingly say that hexing other people is a waste of time because people do such a great job hexing themselves. So don't forget to do your shadow work.
I am pretty convinced that we went into it.
This person is saying that somewhere in the recent past, a black hole must have eaten up Earth because they feel as though the world is different. Something's different because they feel it. Their body's responding to this feeling. Here's a New York Times article from yesterday about a black hole that is indeed missing. But 5 paragraphs in, we know exactly what's up. Every galaxy is supposed to have a black hole in the middle, but this one, Abel 2261, does not. But there is evidence there was a black hole about 50 million years ago, so what the fuck happened to it, right? There's many theories, including that this black hole was literally kicked out of that galaxy. But if it was kicked out, it probably happened millions of years ago. Because scientists have known about this missing black hole since 2012. Which means that the black hole wasn't there for many, many, many years before then, too. Because that black hole has been missing for millions of years, it's probably not that that's causing the feeling that the world is different. Plus, spaghettification. Look it up. Blockchain, crypto, NFTs, the metaverse, Web 3.0.
I've been as technomancy as one can be for a long time. One of my most profound experiences was in an art installation in the silicon mines made out of computer chips, which ended in a stalagmite made of more computer boards, computer chips, and you touch it and the light goes on. But you know, I'd rather my technomancy came without environmental destruction or artist exploitation. Like, what point is chaos magic if you're just gonna reinforce the status quo? To be honest, my experience with technomancy is largely in the theory of it. Mostly because I'm kind of agnostic about witchy stuff in general, like kind of bouncing it out of how much I buy into it. But I just feel like there's something really potent and magical in the way that we are connected to each other virtually. Like, you know, we basically made rocks think with electricity. You know, that's already pretty magical. But also the way that we're all connected virtually by things like the internet or telephones or whatever, right? And how basically 2 digits, 0 and 1, can turn into like mountains of art and words and actions and so much going on there. Like, it's essentially the collective consciousness, but in a tangible form. So I guess for me it's more like the way I see in the world rather than anything I do kind of literally.
Let's make a witch's jar. So this is an offensive form of magic and it can be aggressive. So you're going to cleanse your jar, add salt to carry your enemy away, dirt to bury your enemy, and then a liquid to drown them. You can use wine, you can use your own bodily fluids, whatever you feel comfortable with, and then some sharp objects, broken glass, tacks, screws, nails. I'm also using dried roses with thorns. So I'm not putting in the rose part, just the actual stem with the thorns. And then some protection and banishment herbs, crushed red pepper flakes, dill, peppercorn, and rosemary. So this is all protection herbs to keep them away. And then some more tacks for good measure. Seal it with a red or black candle and then hide it. You can hide it under your stairs. You can hide it in a closet on the furthest corner of your property.
One thing you can do is feed your ancestors by feeding yourself. Make some of their favorite foods or traditional foods from your culture and enjoy it. Make sure to have the intention that by nourishing yourself, you are nourishing your ancestors and honoring them. An ancestral altar is a fancy word for a space that belongs to your ancestors and a place where you can come together with them. If you don't feel comfortable having an altar for them, I ask you this question: do you not feel comfortable having your ancestors in your life? Because they are with you continuously. In my opinion, giving them a space in your home is a sign of respect. In my family, we have a place in our home that we lay out photos of people who have passed along with candles. This itself can be seen as an altar. But here's the thing, if you don't have the capabilities of making an altar for them, or if you choose not to, that doesn't mean they're not going to be in your life anymore. As always, the choice is up to you. I really like this question. Once you and your partner are married, you now have communal ancestors. Those ancestors watch over you because you are now part of their family. You should approach them the same way that you approach your own ancestors, respectfully. Let me add to this, because this is a really good point as well. Marriage is just one way to combine your ancestral line to someone else's. There is such a thing as communal ancestors that are not related to you by blood. Important figures in your community are also considered your ancestors.
Same hoes that was sending shots, they reaching out like they back itching. Why would I hop in some beef? Why? When I could just hop in the Porsche. You heard she gon' do what from who? That's not a reliable source.
I made a video last week about how sleep paralysis is completely demonic.
This resonates with me because I used to get sleep paralysis pretty badly. Ironically, while I was a Christian. And after I became a witch, the sleep paralysis kept going. And I did something pretty major to get rid of the sleep paralysis. It's pretty mind-blowing. I'm going to share with you right now what I did to stop my sleep paralysis. I had a sleep study done and I got a CPAP machine. Random ramblings from a skeptical believer in the paranormal who is also a practicing witch. Paranormal investigators, ghost hunters. When you go to a haunted location and you see a pentagram on the wall or on the ground or wherever, and you start saying, oh, evil things happened here, it's demonic, and oh my gosh, they worship Satan, they did rituals. Okay, if you claim to be like receptive to all like energies, beliefs, religious practices, and you freak out over a pentagram, no, that's not being open-minded, that's being super judgmental, and it's harmful ideology to your pagan and witchy friends. So, stop it. And I know people don't mean to be harmful, but just be mindful of it and choose your words carefully. We need to talk about this TikTok account. A few of you have tagged me in their videos, and I'm gonna be blatantly honest, it's all fake. It's Haunted Mansion, Victorian, seance level of fake. It's bad acting, it's all for likes and views. Activity to the extent that they're recording is one, exceptionally rare, and to get like dozens of videos of remarkable data like that, no, it doesn't happen. Pay attention to how the shots are framed. This will tell you a lot. For example, in this video, it's framed perfectly so you cannot see inside the cabinets. That tells me there could be strings pulling them shut. Same thing in this one, and you can actually see the fishing line in this one. I really don't like this one because this poor puppy almost gets hurt. For fakery. And finally, for this one, this is classic matrixing and pareidolia. Your brain is going to try to find a pattern that looks like a face.
Hearing some weird things going on, some knocks and stuff. I have no idea. I got the reality ripple on to see if I can pick anything up. Hello? Sorry, my house is kind of messy right now. Oh shit. Hello? This is my altar. Why is that? What the fuck is this? Are you a deity? Are you a guardian angel? I take it you're a deity. Wow, okay. Oh my goodness, I'm not even working with deities, so I don't know. Can anybody tell me what shape of... I don't even know.
I got a comment on the video associated with this comment that I have here saying that they felt uncomfortable following practitioners of color because they felt like they weren't supposed to be watching what they were posting, that it wasn't for them. And that shouldn't be the case. Not all Black practitioners or practitioners of color practice closed practices, nor do all of them show their closed practice on the internet. So here are just a few practitioners of color that do not exclusively show closed practices in their content. I'll put them in the comments section, so go check them out. And also, by learning from people of color their way of practicing, you are becoming more well-rounded in your education. It's not all about what you can and cannot practice. That's not me saying that you should practice closed practices. That's me saying you can learn more than just what you can practice.
So let's talk about that spell in a shell. Step 1. Find a snail shell. Hollow, obviously. You can also use ones you find on the beach. Step 2 is cleansing. You don't need incense for this, just the act of washing the shell clean with intention will do it for you. Step 3, figure out what spell you want to use, the ingredients, and then grind them up to make them easier to pack into the shell. Et voila. Ooh. Final step is sealing the shell. For this you will have to be careful because unless you want it to run off and go everywhere because they're wonky, you're going to have to hold it. Just keep in mind that the wax will soak into the ingredients most likely, it will run down the sides, and just watch your fingers. What I do is pour a little bit on, give it a minute, and then add a little more until it's sealed to my liking. And voila! All done. Simple as that. Pop it anywhere you want, fill it with anything you want. So as I'm up at an ungodly hour, thanks to the new puppy whilst everyone else is still asleep, I thought I'd tell you guys about a recent spell that I did that worked beautifully. So I was having really bad nightmares, and I mean constant, all night, every night for like 2 weeks. It was just nightmares, stress dreams. I was getting really tired. So I decided to make a spell sachet and hang it on my headboard above my head where I sleep. And I did a little extra research and I found 2 new ingredients I wouldn't have added before. I added the standard like lavender, chamomile for peaceful sleep, salt for cleansing, etc. Also some amethyst chips. What I added extra was lemon balm, again for the peaceful sleep aspect, but also thyme, which I found in my research to be a good nightmare banisher. And I haven't had a nightmare since. That was a week ago. Time. So I've been making a spell candle today, and it made me think of a video that would be possibly helpful for baby witches, particularly for people who want to do candle magic or communicate with spirits via candles and haven't had a go yet or are just starting out. So anointing and dressing candles is extremely common. I do it with my spell candles like the one I've made today. However, my deity candle and my spirit guide candle, I never ever dress. Keep in mind, this is just my personal opinion. Everyone is different, every witch practices differently, and I'm sure there are plenty of witches out there who have a completely different approach to this. My reason for this is because herbs and oils and things burn, so they're going to alter the way your candle burns. And if you're specifically looking to your flame, at how it flickers and flares as a means of communication, these things are going to interfere with that. And you won't know if the flare you've just seen is a natural response, or if it's just too many herbs. So lately I've been seeing loads of questions in the Facebook groups I'm in from novice witches asking about altars, how to set one up, what should they have on it, and I figured let's cover that. First and foremost, you do not need an altar to be a practitioner. You do not need one permanently set up. You can keep a few bits in the shoebox. You can just practice in nature. This is just if you want one. Now, a great place to start is things that represent the elements. For example, I've got a little cauldron for fire, a little chalice for water. I also have some tools I consider witchy, like my pestle and mortar. I've got my incense burner, my tingsha for sound cleansing. I also have some more personal things on here, like I have some throwing lots here, and I have my 2 most bonded tarot decks, and as you can see I can have my dedications for my deities and some spell work on the go. This one I'm particularly fond of, I've just done. It is my first ever spell in a shell, and I will be doing a separate video on that. I hope this helps.
Happy full moon, friends! Today I'm going to show you one of my favorite full moon rituals that I do, and that's a spell bath. I keep my manifestation notebook handy for after I get everything set up. I make sure I've got all of my favorite products near. Amethyst and rose quartz for self-love and healing. Smoky quartz for protection and grounding. Clear quartz to help boost my manifestations. Tiger eye for clarity and grounding before I start my manifestations. And today I am using a blend of rose, chamomile, and lavender, in addition to my Epsom salt. I also really like to add a bunch of my favorite body oil, and pour myself a nice cup of tea. After that, I write in my manifestation notebook, find some songs that make me feel nice and relaxed, and soak as long as I want.
Ooh, I know, Witchtok, don't show your altars, but I want to show this off because it's actually, I think, pretty clever. So my Hestia statue sits on these coasters. I'm not going to show them, they're Greek coasters. But they have like, kind of like a terracotta finish on top, and then this felt on the bottom, so they move on top of each other ever so slightly. And my house is small, so any movement I make makes everything move. So all the movements of the house are channeled into the Hestia statue through this system, so that it can move and turn with the energy of the house to, like, dictate to me.
This is your reminder, magic is not the solution to everything. If you do not follow it through in the real world, it probably won't come to fruition. For example, if you do a spell to find a new job, but you aren't following it through with upskilling, applying for new jobs, updating your resume to a newer version, all that sort of stuff in the real world, the magic really isn't probably going to do anything. You need to follow your magic through with real life activity.
Spiritual people of TikTok, is your spirituality ableist? I avoid spirit.
This is a huge issue on spiritual TikTok, and it needs to, people need to do their research and understand. This is why so many of us, and I know this creator is not pointing fingers. I 110% agree with her. This is why so many of us say mundane before the magical when it comes to being witch. Always, always, always look into your health, your surroundings, and what's going on in your brain before you ever go, okay, no, it's magic. No, you need to look into these things because you could be missing an undiagnosed mental health concern or undiagnosed illness. And that's not something we want. We want us to be healthy so we can be our best self.
This is Amy Carlson, the now deceased leader of Love Has.
Please go watch the original creator's video and then go over to their YouTube and watch the deep dive. It is really well done. It has a lot of info in it, especially about the Love Has Won cult. Do you guys remember like a month ago when I was talking about colloidal silver being consumed and what it does to your skin? That is why Amy Carlson looks the way that she does in that photo. I'm not saying that's what killed her. There hasn't been an autopsy done. We don't know yet. But what I'm saying is colloidal silver and essential oil consumption, where you will see the effects from the silver on the outside, you might not see the effects from the essential oils on the inside. See what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? Anyway, my heart goes out to Carlson's family who is not in the cult. Can't imagine the pain they're going through right now.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Let me tell you about Welsh familiars. When we talk about Welsh familiars, we're not talking about the English concept of demons taking the form of animals as found in English witch lore. Welsh familiars were slightly different. Many Welsh conjurers and cunning folk had a familiar, but they were not usually seen in the form of animals. Welsh familiars were usually familiar spirits that were kept inside books. Yes, that's right. Welsh conjurers and cunning folk would trap spirits or demons inside their books, and then those spirits or demons would do their bidding. And this is why you should never ever open a cunning man or conjurer's hither covering book of mystic secrets without their permission. Unless, of course, you're in the mood for some chaos. Welcome back to Witch Tips with Mara. That's me. Today, I'm going to be teaching you how to make a book of shadows. Step 1. Get a book. It does not have to be this fancy. This'll do. Step 2. In order to make it a book of shadows, it's simple. Take it into the shadows. And that's how you make a book shadows. Enjoy. I dented my book. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. A lot of people have been asking me lately about a daily practice. What kind of things do I do within my daily practice as a Welsh witch? Let me show you. I start most of my days, especially my working days, by lighting some candles on my altar in honour of Curated. Curated is the goddess of inspiration, and she is the goddess I devote much of my practice to as a writer. O Curated, duwies awen, ceidwad y pair, rhod y awenyddiaeth ar fy siwrne ac ar fy ngwaith. The prayer I just recited is from Christopher Hughes's Curated book and can be found here. After my daily devotions, I then pull a tarot card to place on my altar as a message for myself throughout the day. This is the Celtic Tarot deck by Christopher Hughes. And then it's time to give an offering of incense to Curated. Today it was mugwort. I then sit and work on my creative projects, another offering to my goddess, Curated. Welsh witch lore. Let's talk about witches and the lore surrounding them in Welsh communities throughout history. Witches in Wales were associated with strange, eerie lights. Sometimes some would say if you can see flickering lights coming from the forest, it was proof that witches were at work over there. Some academics, including the historian Richard Sugget, theorise that the pointed hat actually stems from Welsh national dress, or at least in part. Witchcraft and magic was so embedded into Welsh culture, especially throughout the medieval period, that many Christian priests who stemmed from England had to create entire propaganda manuals to try and convince the Welsh that magic was evil. Many Welsh people today believe that the Welsh term for a witch is gwrach, but that's not actually true. There were many words for witches, including swynwraig and rheibes. Hello, it has come to my attention that some people think that I might be a fairy. I am not. I am a mortal person. I was born from a woman like everyone else to a mother, and I am completely 100% human, not fairy. I've had a lot of people asking me when exactly I was born, which is quite a strange question to ask a fellow mortal being, really, isn't it? But for those of you genuinely curious, I was born in 1816. Slip of the tongue, sorry, I meant 1916. 1916 is when... That was quite a while back as well, wasn't it? What year is it? It's 2020. 1996. Yes. 2000? 1996. That's when I was born. For those of you curious. Today I'm going to read to you an old Welsh charm for protection. People would say this charm aloud or write it on a piece of paper and keep it on them for protection. Credo fechan, credo lan, credo I dduw ac ifan, rhag y dwfr, rhag y tân, rhag y sarffes goch ben chydan, cerddais fynydd ac o'r fynydd, a gwelwn fair wen ar ei gobenydd. A'i angel ifydd a Duw ei hun yn degdydd ar gŵr chwyd a'i wisg wen yn llunio, chen rhwng pob enaid ac uffern. Amen. I hope you like that.
We're gonna return to the roots of this TikTok page real quick and talk about accessible magic. For those of you who don't know, if you don't know, I have disabilities. I have both mental disabilities, autism and ADHD, and a physical disability. Ehlers-Danlos syndrome causes basically chronic pain is the main symptom. I also have a tendency to put everyone else in the world before myself. And I've just gone through pretty major changes in pretty much every area of my life. So my routine is completely thrown off, and having a routine for me as a neurodivergent person is very, very important. So what do I mean by accessible magic? I think the first thing that I mean, which I'm going to show you today in a small series of videos, it's really just getting the energy right, getting yourself straightened out in all of these little ways that most people take for granted. I'll elaborate on this, but everything you do is magic.
I orient myself in space and time. Here's how many hours are left in the day. I get my body moving. I get my body clean and adorned how I prefer. I seek guidance. I listen deeply. I meditate. I feel good.
Ha! Just your daily reminder that if you are a Norse heathen, you are not required to wear Mjolnir. You do not have to visibly display your faith on your person. That is Christian conditioning. And it's okay to let it go.
I love you. Have a great day. Have a great day. Bye. Bye.